don't think so. Do you?
You know
That's back to the TNR.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the TNR one.
Yes, that's the TNR.
Okay, now as far as the roaming cats, you know, we do participate in the TNR program. I think it has helped. We even get some citizens who tell us that they appreciate us explaining why TNR works. Because for years on end before, when we would pick up a feral cat, those cats would be humanely euthanized. You're talking about thousands and thousands of cats. It's not the cat's fault that he's feral. You know, so if we can get these cats and get them fixed and put them back so they can continue to eat from that same food source, you're not replacing this one adult cat with 6 kittens. You know, and they keep the other cats out of that particular area, and that's how that works. Because a cat is not going to hang around if it's not getting fed. Somebody's feeding it somewhere.
Right.
You know, so if you take away 3 adult cats, if you have 2 or 3 remaining, and 2 of those have litters, you just replace them with
Right.
16 new ones.
Right. Okay. So our response to roaming cats is the TNR program, and it's working really well.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Now there are instances where we don't TNR, we don't bring them back, and that's if, you know, it's property damage being done, you have vehicles being scratched and things of that sort. If it's a problematic cat, if something is really going on, then yes, we fix them. We try to turn them into barn cats.
Okay.
But of course, you don't have people flying off the shelf trying to come get a barn cat. There's
not so many
certain
barns.
type of people that just want a cat that's outside to help with rodents and stuff.
Okay. And I have one question. It's about I guess it's about personnel, kind of. Is it okay to ask it now, or should I wait?
Well,
Well-
let me ask
Oh,
a
go
question
ahead.
about this other deal before you try to change subject. So let me ask this question. Why do people up north want our animals?
Well, I'd say a few different reasons. I'd say the first one being that they do want to help with the overpopulation issues that we have here.
And they don't have them up north?
You don't have a lot of full shelters up north.
No.
Not to the areas that we particularly transport to.
Okay, why?
Well, one of them is weather. You have to think, if you around Virginia and Maryland, you know, they get snow. They get hard winters.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have stray problems like we have. They can breed all year round here.
Okay.
You know, stray animals can get under your house or, you know.
Would you also say that there is a difference in the laws of that particular county? And
Yes, sir. I have
to
been.
our parish?
Yes, sir. I have been researching some stuff. I haven't got all of the information that I needed to get for Commissioner Chavez, because he did ask me about it. When you have the licensing and the mandatory microchipping laws and things of that nature, you already know who these animals belong to. And as we were talking about statistics earlier, you have to think if we're at 88% and we had something like a mandatory microchipping, even if it only helps 5% more animals get home, that puts you over the 90 bump.
Right.
You know, so I think it's a multitude of reasons as to why, you know, people up north or groups up north would prefer to help southern region animals.
Right. But based upon the laws, make those numbers go down.
Yeah.
Because as the law states now, you're doing what you can do within the law.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
so
sir.
in order to change that, the law has to be changed.
Yes, sir.
We had to put in new laws in order for you to now enforce something totally different. And so instead of blaming you and your staff, they should be blaming the commissioners and the laws that are in place that govern you to do your job.
I'd say adding
Yes.
in a few
Yes.
choice laws would definitely help the situation.
Right. And so that's what I'm getting to. So it's not about you not doing what you're supposed to do. You're doing what you're supposed to do based upon the laws that are in place. So if something needs to be changed, it needs to be changed through legislation.
Yes,
and then
sir.
now you'll follow the new legislation in order to do your job
Yes, sir.
at 100%.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So-
Commissioner Johnson.
Instead of having 1,000 emails sent around about you not doing what you're supposed to be doing, they need to be focused on what we should be doing in order to change the laws.
Mm-hmm.
It'll definitely help.
That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah, Commissioner Johnson. not to throw anybody under the bus, but a few years ago, we went like a whole entire year going through our ordinance, and it was led by a community group, of citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came time to enact what they suggested, we didn't do it.
Right, and some of it I thought was, because I think I was on the commission at that time,
Yes, sir.
and I think some of it was, to me, overkill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when a child or an animal is born, they don't take off and run 100 meters.
Mm-hmm.
They crawl first, well, they scoot around, then they crawl,
Right.
start walking, and then they start to run.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought what they had put before us was too critical for our existing animal owners
Mm-hmm.
to take on at one time.
Right, I understand.
So if you take a little small piece,
Right.
enact that, then a little bit later you enact something else, it's not a big of a chunk for them to take at one time.
Right.
Then it would be legislate some small,
Right.
some else small, and you gradually get there over a period of time,
Mhm.
instead of trying to say, well, here's 10 things we need to do, and we're gonna hit this on the citizens of Caddo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally against that, because when you looked at that, they were gonna have to do the microchipping, they were going to spay and neuter,
Mm-hmm.
and that just was too much
Mhm.
for people who bought a dog or a cat, and they figured, well, it's gonna be in the house, it's gonna be in my yard, it's a guard dog, I'm gonna feed it, send it to
Mhm.
the vet, get the shots, or I'm gonna do all that myself.
Mhm.
And now you enacting all these fees. I wasn't for that.
Mhm.
But if we do something gradual over a period of time,
Mm-hmm.
now some of them will probably be grandfathered, but then you all new pet owners, this is what you need to expect when you purchase a pet.
Mhm.
Now, that would suffice me into supporting something like that, instead of saying, everybody, now you're gonna have this $120 per dog or cat that you're going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
I get to hear that from my constituents, and they would too, that,
Mhm.
why am I paying this? And nobody will pay attention to it until it come time that they get something in the mail,
Mhm.
or the animal is taken up, or they get some knock on the door saying that you hadn't paid this. And then this whole chamber will be full.
Mhm.
I wasn't finna go that route with them on that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's why I said if we do something small,
Mhm.
and then do something else, and do something else, I'm with it.
Yeah.
But not do top 10 and then enact that upon the citizens, and they don't even know about it until now they get slapped with it, and they calling me all time of the day and night about why y'all voted on this, why y'all let this pass.
Yeah.
No. So
Yeah. Hey, Commissioner
that's,
Johnson.
but that's what I wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
the general public know that you're following the policies and the laws
Mhm.
that are in place,
Yes, sir.
and that if they have a complaint, it should be brought to the commission to change something in order for you to do something totally different.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
That's all.
Yeah, Commissioner Johnson, I would appreciate in the future if we consider taking some small legislative bites of the apple,
Right.
because we really need to, and we can make it in a user-friendly way. But we just try to, for example, pet registration. It don't have to be with Caddo Parish, it could be a third party. But we want to be able to identify who own animals, so we won't have to bring them to the shelter. We'll
Right.
take them home for free.
So are the vets that's in Caddo Parish, do they have a
Well,
system?
it don't
in
even have to be
place?
the vet anymore, because last year we went to the NACO conference, and the expo hall, they had a booth set up as a third-party source that the citizens can go to and register their pet. And it had nothing to do with us managing the process whatsoever, but we can have access to it to identify the animals, we can get them back to the owner. And it can be strictly between the citizen and the third party without involving us.
Okay. Well, I'm saying though, but can they go to their vet and do
Well,
the same
well,
thing?
we tried the vets, and the vets want to be compensated for their time. That was a major issue that we had to undertake.
All right,
And,
so-
and most vets didn't want to do it because they weren't getting paid to do it, and they didn't want anything to do with it.
Okay. So the animal group that's very supportive of change, they need to be talking to veterinarians too. They need to be letting them know
Yes, sir.
this is how we need to try to move forward.
Yes.
Because everybody's not gonna send a come down to animal shelter to do this.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's just not gonna happen.
If we can identify the pets, that would be the best thing we can do ever. So we wouldn't even bring them to the shelter, we'd take them to the owner.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
That's all I had.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Mr. Clark, just to follow up on the difference in the north and the south, wouldn't you agree that our attitude about our animals and is entirely different than the attitude of those up north? In other words, we treat our animals a whole lot different, more of property
Yes.
than of pet. And I think that seems to be my experience with the shortage up there. One, they have stricter laws. Two, obviously they have harsh winters. But it seems that our culture down here kind of looks at animals in a whole different perspective than their culture up there. And so it's almost like they value their animals more up there.
Right.
Where I've known hunters that once a dog loses its ability to hunt, they just let it go in the wild, you know, kind of thing, because it's just property. It's there to perform a service and or being a guard dog or whatever it is. So I think our culture is entirely different. I think our attitude about our animals is entirely different, which we're thankful, I think, in some respects, because
Yes,
it
sir.
gives us an opportunity to rehome those animals.
Yes, sir.
You know, up north, Michigan, Wisconsin, wherever. So yeah, I agree with that we have to take little bites of the apple. And I would like, and I think maybe Commissioner Chavez has already kind of tasked you with this, but
Yes.
I'd like we'd like some recommendations on maybe a tier of
Yes, sir.
recommendations on how we could actually start implementing a process
Yes, sir.
to kind of curb those animals that wander off and we just never know where they belong, because I would like to see them return to their proper homes. So.
Yes, sir. And again, you have to think about the fact that with the photos that were taken of the animals and the animals being tagged and going up north, of course, these are good quality animals. They're pretty animals. A lot of these animals aren't strays. I don't know if they're just being turned loose, if people are saying they're strays and they're turning in their own animals, but these animals come in, they're clean. Some of them are already altered and everything else. It's hard to imagine it just being a stray, because I've seen plenty of strays and they don't look as good as some of the animals that we get, you know. When you can post a picture of an animal online on social media and 3 minutes later you got rescue groups clamoring at it, obviously that's a good animal and they figure they can find it a good home. So, you know, I'm very appreciative of having that relationship. As far as them treating the animals different, I would be biased because when I've interacted with them, I'm dealing with a rescue group and their volunteers and their fosters who are picking up the animals from a transport. So of course you see the happy-go-lucky and thank you so much for what you do type of thing, versus me being here and I see someone who, look, this dog just showed up last week, been tearing up my yard and keeping my dogs barking and this and that. So I see two different sides of it, you know. I don't get to see I'm not privy to the day-to-day interactions that someone up north in those particular areas would have.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay.
Any further questions? No. Commissioner Young.
Just to follow up on what about the changes in laws that we were talking about, it occurs to me that we could do a bunch of little changes, or we could do something bigger and have different parts of it take effect at different times, like, you know, over the next several years. That's just a way to consider it. Another law that I was thinking about that we talked about before is, and I wanted to ask you about this, so for mosquito problems that take place outside of Mr. Terrence Green's jurisdiction, like if there's a tire pile out in the parish somewhere, do we have the authority to
issue a citation
Yeah,
for
to
that? No,
enforce
we do.
against
We
those?
do not.
who
Not as
who
far
would
as
have that authority?
animal
Nobody.
control doesn't.
Do you think that we need some legislation to grant that authority to someone?
It would probably help. I'm unsure if a local governing agency like like say I'm in Oil City. I don't know if Oil City PD could issue a citation for something like that, but I know we can.
Okay.
All of our things are directly animal related.
Okay.
I'd like to research that for sure.
Yeah, it would be.
I mean, if
you
we can, I can research Municode, MUNI code, Municode. It has every agency's ordinances as far as what they can enforce and
Right.
things like that.
Okay. Would you? I mean, is that an authority that you'd like to have for mosquito control?
Ah,
Or do you think a different
for
agency?
tires, I'm not really sure, sir. You have to let me think about it.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
when we come across it, we do mention it. You know, our officers will say, hey, you know, you probably need to dump these tires, but it's no enforcement aspect for us
Right.
at this time.
Right.
So,
Right. I think we need somebody who can enforce the rule about tires.
yes, sir.
I have, are we going on to other topics?
I'm just gonna suspend the rules here just briefly for,
Okay.
citizen comments.
Okay, great. That's all, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, at this time, before we go any further, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and go back to citizens' comments, because I think we have some comments out in the general area there.
Second.
You want to vote?
I guess we vote.
You want to do a vote?
Yeah.
No.
You okay?
You gonna do a roll call?
You vote. You have to
Yeah.
vote.
Okay, Commissioner Talaferro.
We're voting verbally.
Commissioner Talaferro.
I can't hear you. What?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yay.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that was roll call.
Commissioner Johnson.
No.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
Yes, sir.
Motion carries.
All right, Mr. John Settle.
Maybe help you, Jake, go get some water. John Settle, 4 Tealwood. I just wanted to make a couple of casual comments. Number one, environmental court in Shreveport is in the city limits, and they're going to be cranking up in November. The mayor has assigned 2 officers to be environmental court officers, and they're tracking hard illegal tire dumping within the city limits. They've actually set up cameras, and they've got some cases on that. That's part of the problem of mosquito control, is the illegal tire dumping. So City of Shreveport is working on that, and they've got a real good, I forgot the officer's name, but 2 good officers on environmental court and cameras to try to catch the dumping. Secondly, I went out to see Paul. It's been a while back, but I was really impressed. And if you hadn't been out there, I didn't even know where it was. It's a nice tour, and today a lot of questions. There's things changed since I've been out there, so thought you may want to think about that. And also, I've been telling Mario to keep his pet bat at home, and then got out and kind of got a hold of me before Halloween. So, lastly, I think that I want everybody to know that my paper has weekly runs a free ad, Adopt a Pet, and we also donate 1,000 papers a week or a month or something. So I think that the save rate going up is due to the fact those puppies get to poop on my paper. I think that helps them be friendly. Just wanted y'all to know that. So LBJ, if your dogs need a little friendly thing, I've got some papers they can poop on a little bit. Thank you.
Yeah, but the more color there is, John, the less absorbent it is, so, you know.
Well, the inside thing, you know.
Thank you.
And are we, that's the only public comment I'm aware of, or we return to the agenda? Return to the agenda now?
I would like to move to return to the agenda.
Second.
Do we need to vote?
Pass by acclamation? Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Great. So the final item, because I believe y'all kind of covered the personnel topics.
I have one question.
I think
about
John,
personnel.
I think Commissioner Young had a quick question on personnel.
Okay, that's where we are on the agenda.
Mine is, it's a small thing. I just noticed that I was reading the long document that you provided, Mr. Clark, the procedures. In one of your sections, it just struck me as a possible legal issue in the future. It says that for the people who work at CPAWS, that that a woman may have small earrings, and that's fine, but that men are not allowed to have small earrings. And I think it might not. I think that might be sort of
A legal
sexist
issue?
policy that violates Title VII. So it's just something I wanted to bring to your attention.
Okay.
Like, please don't fire anyone for.
Oh, no, sir,
for having an earring.
no, sir.
Sure. Okay.
He like me. I got earring.
I know. Commissioner Johnson volunteered that he also sports an illegal earring in your office. So,
It's legal.
well, it's legal here, but you know, you might be fined for it. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that.
Commissioner Chavez?
Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Wilson, I said this the other day, but Director Travis, I thought it was awesome that I tried to help one of the ACO guys and get out and corner some dogs to help them out, and lo and behold, it was you that got out of the truck. So I think it's really cool that you lead by example.
Yes, sir.
By getting out there and working in the streets.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for what you guys are doing over there. You guys, the statistics are great.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Are we ready to adjourn?
All right.
Yes, sir.
Move to adjourn.
Anything else?
Unless
Okay.
you wanted to readdress the mosquitoes, but I think y'all did
Commissioner
discuss
I think we
it.
can talk about
I
mosquitoes
think
more
we're good.
later.
Yeah, we're working on that trap right now, sir.
Great, thanks.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thanks.
Good job, Chairman.